Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to a brand new installment of our Reviewed and Ranked series. As we've been going through the list of characters in the playable roster, we've taken the time to note the strong and weak points of each individual character, and today's installment will be no different as we seek to tackle the martial artist warrior Iron Fist. And this character has some interesting points of discussion to go over in today's video. But before we do, make sure you check to see if you are subscribed to the channel. If you're not, go ahead and fix that for me, as the subscription is free and easy. And feel free to leave a like on today's video if you find it helpful and or enjoyable. So as with all characters, the first item that we need to note about Iron Fist is the team synergies that he has available when putting together your core squad. And Iron Fist has 5 different synergies. He has a New Avengers synergy and a Defenders synergy, both in the defense category. He has Midnight Suns and Agile Fighters in that mastery category, and the Martial Artists synergy in the strength category. So not the strongest showing of synergies in terms of versatility that we've seen, but mastery and strength synergies are always quite nice to see within the cast of characters, as it helps to bolster the overall efficiency of not only the character themselves, but also the team in which they are placed. And the important thing to note about Iron Fist is he does have quite a few attacks that work very well when synergized with other characters' abilities, so we will want to break those down in a little bit more detail after we go through the basic functions of the character. Iron Fist has a 4-strike basic combo, which has a bit of a pause before the final strike, which in some cases it may actually be better to omit that final hit and chain it instead into a heavy attack that will deal more damage and comes out just marginally faster. So do keep that in mind, as it may be a better option when relaying through basic attack combos with this character. That heavy attack that I just mentioned has a little bit of a startup as well, but I do feel that it carries out a bit faster than the final hit of the basic attack combo, and it has a bit of an extended hitbox with the energy blast or the ki blast that happens at the end of it. So it does have some use, and as this character has a melee attack component with his different attacks, he does stun out the smaller grunt type enemies, which discourages retaliation from those foes when making your way through the vast majority of enemies that you will encounter in any given game mode. Iron Fist does possess a double jump. This is pretty consistent with a large selection of the cast that we've looked at, and it is quite nice because it allows the character some additional movement and versatility. The falling aerial involves a falling heel kick out of a jump or an airborne position as Iron Fist falls and makes his way down to the ground. And that is a decent attack when it comes to layering in some additional damage or providing some knockback on different characters. The unfortunate aspect about Iron Fist's falling aerial is he does not have an ability or other attack that puts him in an airborne position, thus allowing you to extend your overall DPS by carrying out that attack. But if you do find opportunities to use it, it's not a bad option by any means. And Iron Fist's blocking and dodging animation involves him bracing his arms up in front of himself, parallel to each other, to provide a little bit of some upper body blocking. And as a directional influence is given while blocking, the character will perform a somersault type dodge in the direction in which they're headed. So we can now transition away and talk about the abilities that Iron Fist possesses. The first ability is his Thunder Kick, which involves a powerful flying kick that sends the character rushing forward. This attack in its own usage can be held to aim or directionally influence the area of outcome, though again, when used in a synergy format, it will instantly detonate and have the benefit of having the additional damage effect from whatever other ability it pairs with. This attack in particular has the melee attack type and the charge synergy trait, and is a very powerful move within Iron Fist's kit, which is very nice because it's one of the few that he has available when the character is first made available to you. At its full potency, it has a B classification in damage, an A classification to damage to the stagger gauge, and a C classification in energy point consumption. And as all Iron Fist's attacks are ranked up, they benefit from having a reduced energy point cost, an increase to their attack damage, an increase to the damage done to stagger gauges, and a reduced chance of the attack being interrupted. Iron Fist's second ability adds some ranged component to his combat prowess. The Dragon Smash ability involves a dragon aura being released in the direction that the character is facing. This attack again can be held down to aim where the attack ends up, and has a very long range aura dragon that is released in the direction when you finally determine the area where you want to release said dragon, or once the maximum charge timer has been reached. This attack has the bash synergy trait and the energy attack type, and isn't as good on the damage front as it only has a B classification to damage done, a C classification to energy points consumed, and a D classification to stagger damage dealt. But in terms of increasing where Iron Fist has influence, this attack certainly fits that role quite nicely. Iron Fist's third ability is the Key Focus, and this is a brief little animation that involves an energy burst, with that attack type being energy and the synergy trait being burst, in the form of an aura shockwave around where the character is located, and can be used as a decent get off me tool if he finds himself enveloped or surrounded by a lot of enemies at one given time. This attack has the C classification to damage, stagger, and energy point consumption, but again, provides the benefit of allowing a little bit of extra breathing room if the character finds himself encircled by a large selection of enemies. So not the highest damage dealing ability in his kit, but certainly has its uses or areas where it may be beneficial. And the final ability that Iron Fist possesses is the Rise of the Dragon. This looks very similar to the Dragon Smash, but instead of being sent in an outward direction, this releases that dragon aura in an upwards direction as kind of a powerful uppercut. This has the energy attack type and the synergy trait of launch, and is better on the damage output, being his best overall damage outputting move with that classification of A, though it retains the C classification in both stagger damage dealt and energy point consumption. However, if you do have characters that are highly vulnerable, such as bosses that have had their stagger gauge depleted and are in the recuperation animation, or other groups of characters that are entrapped or circled in front of the character, this attack can be quite useful and possibly best used when in a synergy with other abilities from other characters in your team. You will probably find yourself using the Rise of the Dragon and the Thunder Kick the most out of the different abilities that Iron Fist possesses. Iron Fist's extreme attack is carried out pretty quickly after it is started up, and it involves a series of those dragon auras in rapid fire blasts out in front of the character as the attack is unleashed. As you are carrying out this attack, as you can see with one of the animations we have here, you can directionally influence the direction of those punches marginally, and Iron Fist should correct a little bit in the direction that he's facing if he is not actively facing towards characters, as long as you are not holding in a direction on that stick if the character is the one that you have at the start of the attack. It covers a decent amount of ground and has a lot of range capability to the attack, and because it is carried out relatively quickly, you don't have to worry about large boss type characters recuperating before the attack has its full chance to deal the maximum amount of damage. So now that we know what Iron Fist brings to the table, it's time for us to ask, where does he fit in to our ongoing tier list? Well, he certainly does not belong at the bottom of the list, as he does have a lot of high impact, heavy hitting damage dealing moves, and is fairly reliant and consistent when dealing damage as a whole. His abilities are far and beyond quite useful, with only really one of them not being super great, and even then it's still a decent damage dealing option. So I think based off of what we've looked at, he belongs in the B tier of our characters, and he definitely edges out Falcon, so we'll move him over. He definitely edges out Deadpool as well, and at this point in time, I'm inclined to put him ahead of Gamora, making him the current leader within the B tier of characters. So let's go ahead and slide him into the front of this tier. And there we have it. He is positioned correctly and optimally right there. Now, will he stay there? That's still too early to tell because there's a lot of characters that we still have left to discover, but I would be hard pressed to move him into a higher tier or somewhere else. But what do you think? Do you agree with my placement? Do you disagree? Be sure to let me know in the comments down below. And as always, feel free to leave a like on today's episode if you found it helpful and or enjoyable. And we look forward to seeing you in tomorrow's video and next week's breakdown when that comes around. So thanks again for watching, and I hope that you have a fantastic rest of your day.